Hey everyone, welcome back to the Best Small Business Podcast. Today, we're discussing our final book of the series. And boy, are we finishing with a bang. It's The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Uh, the core idea of her Let Them book is to release control over others' behaviors, others' choices, and their opinions, focusing instead on your growth and boundaries.
Yeah. And, it draws concepts from really old people who did it right. Stoicism, radical acceptance, the Buddhist philosophy, where letting go was what you cannot change is key to finding inner peace. The phrase let them serves as a reminder to step back and not let others' behaviors dictate your own emotions, almost like what you do with the kids, you know? Right, Rich?
Yeah, a lot of these ideas in the book. I mean, BJ and I have been bringing you a lot of great books, and
Oh, yeah.
this one is brand new. I mean, it was just published. It's out. I think she's been on Oprah and stuff.
Yeah.
We weren't really happy with this book because
Yeah.
a lot of the ideas are very old. It's like I'm just going to shine them up in a nice green book and
Right.
do it. And we're like,
Right.
these have been around for a long time. And frankly, aligning them to business isn't very helpful. So we're going to show you.
Yeah. And what is surprising to me too is the minute I heard about the premise, all I could think about was Nelson Mandela's book, Letting Go. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, whatever you're going to tell me, it better be damn good and it better be deep because, yeah, been done.
Yeah.
So it just shocked me
Yeah.
that there's a whole book about stuff we already know, and it was just kind of skim deep. So anyway, Rich, I want you to kick us off. I want you to kick us off. Do what you can. All right, just do what
Well,
you can.
absolutely. Well, at its core, Robbins' let them approach advocates for releasing control over others' actions and focusing on your responses. But like I said, her ideas aren't groundbreaking. It mirrors Epictetus. If you know Epictetus, we've recommended that book many times. Some things are up to us and some things are not. And frankly, the Stoics championed accepting what is outside our control and directing our energies inward. Again, this is
I
not new.
know.
This is basic stuff. And her book fails to grapple with the depth of relinquishing control or
Yeah,
challenging relationships or it's very 50,000 foot. And for instance, while Stoicism emphasizes cultivating virtue and aligning one's actions with reason, Robin often frames the let them philosophy as a tool for self preservation rather than a pathway to greater wisdom or moral growth. Well, you just need to shut down and stay within yourself. It's like, no, no. Stoics were like, you become more wise and you grow your morals that way.
and I feel with Stoicism, the whole concept is unity and common ground. Like
Yeah.
you, you're an active player in the discussion or whatever you're going to be doing. So let's dig deep into these four critical points from the book and just just think of your small business and how this might help you in your business journey.
Well, our first action is to focus on what you can control or let me. Robbins' core principle is to recognize that you can only control your thoughts and actions. So instead of trying to change others, focus on your response to their behavior. It's kind of like,
Mm,
let me think of an example. Okay, think of like driving a car in a storm. Okay. The rain's coming down, it's crazy. You can't control the rain, but you can adjust your speed. You can turn on your wipers. You can focus more intently on the road ahead. See, so you could change different things. Don't let the rain affect you, but change your behaviors. The let me put you back into the driver's seat.
Yeah. But I'm also just interested in like how you interpreted that let me concept, because I think your example about the car was really interesting. But think of it from a business standpoint. Like, how do you
Yeah.
look at this? Yeah. What do you do there, Rich?
Well, I mean, while this advice is practical in low stakes scenarios, very low, like a friendship or something like that, it becomes
Yeah.
problematic in more complex situations. Like Stoics like Marcus Aurelius didn't advocate for passive detachment. They believed in engaging with each other instead of stepping back, engage with the
Yeah.
person, understand. And
Right.
I'll be honest, BJ, I think a lot of that's happening today is that a lot of people are talking from the left and right, not to get political, and they're yelling at each other, but they're not engaging. They're not saying, well, let's talk about
Right.
this for a second.
Right.
Simply letting them in situations where intervention is warranted, such as addressing harmful behaviors or injustices, could be seen as shirking your responsibility rather than cultivating virtue. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely.
I mean, you and I, BJ, we have many clients, and we're kind of like responsible for certain behaviors are the businesses that we work in, that we work with. And like when I'm
Yeah.
working with a client, it's so important when dealing with your staff or clients that the situations are infinitely more complex than just like a friendship and somebody saying something the wrong way. When you're in
Yes.
business, it has financial fiduciary responsibilities. It's really important.
Yeah, yeah. So, this concept that was hard for me. That was hard for me to kind of really gravel with. The second action, which is release the need to control others. Let them, okay? And by saying that, you're detaching from the situation emotionally, which will help you reduce the stress and anxiety. Oh no, it won't. Okay, newsflash, no, it will not, because people who are being agitating, we just talked about this a couple of podcasts ago.
Yeah.
You have a person and they are acting inappropriately in a meeting, right? You can't just let them.
Yeah.
You are the leader of the meeting. You're the leader of the meeting. You have to get in there and stop the situation, discuss what's happening, always follow up,
Yeah.
always hear the other side. But to let not it, I hate to say it, but it reminds me of the kid on the soccer field.
Yeah.
The kid on the soccer field. Oh, just let those boys fight like that. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just let them. Don't worry. They'll be fine. And I'm like, yeah, no, no,
No.
that one's biting. You know,
Well, it's
you're an adult. You're a leader, right?
and it's the same with small businesses. It's like these thoughts can impact a person in a leadership role. What are some things that you think if you're leading, like if you're a manager of a business, okay, you can't let certain behaviors continue. You can't let certain clients continue. You need to take a leadership role when you're running a business. What do you
Yeah,
think, BJ?
agreed. I
Yeah.
completely agree. I just feel like you can't sit there and, oh, laissez-faire. Oh, there we go. No,
Yeah.
no, that's not a business. That's called Rich and I have a always have a name for it. That's a hobby.
That's
That's
a
a
hobby.
hobby.
Yeah.
That's not a business. So anyway, take us into the third action.
Yeah. Our third action is accept people for who they are, even if it means letting them make their own choices. This is, again, this is the crux of where I just lost it with the book, where her theory encourages you to become aware of when you're trying to control others and to consciously choose to let them be who they are. Like we said before, again,
Yeah.
I feel Robbins misappropriates Stoicism again. While it sounds simple in theory, the practice is infinitely more complex. And that's where she's trying to simplify it for the
Yeah.
reader. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you have a argument with a friend, yes, but accepting other choices becomes challenging when their decisions impact us directly or contradict our values. Let me give you some examples. Okay. A client repeatedly chooses the wrong customer targets for their business. BJ, you probably run into
Oh
this all the time.
my God. No, no. You have to say to the client, your
Yeah.
role is to say to the client, no, we're not doing a repeater.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a repeater. So in here, even as a friend, I hate to say it, Rich, even as a friend,
Yeah.
I'm not going to let a friend continue to do something that hurts them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like having a client do that is just ridiculous, right?
Oh, absolutely. I run into this all the time where clients want to grow their career or get a new role, and they're like, well, I'll just reach out to that person via LinkedIn or send them an email. I said, no, call them up. You need
Yeah.
to, because they're choosing the wrong target, the wrong communication structure. I could sit there and just go, oh, I think that's a great idea. Just do it.
Yeah. And
It's
watch them
like, no.
fail. Yeah. No.
Or where an employee prefers to work at their own pace and they're slowing down team progress. I'm like, you have to work with the team. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And also like we definitely, we all in our careers have come upon some people who, oh, Eric, yes. Well, he has that office. Don't go knock on his door between 2 and 10. No,
yeah,
no, 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 no. That's not teamwork. That's a silo. And that could be an issue, right?
absolutely. And that brings us back to when we talk about you're on a team, like a baseball team, and everybody has to work like a machine. It's not a family, it's a team. And if
Yeah.
you're on third base and you're not throwing the ball to first that fast, that person's going to get on first. And so you need to work, you need to pick up your pace. Also,
Yeah.
like this is a big one I run into are clients making financial decisions that I perceive as reckless, where they're, oh, I'm going to buy this new software. I go, do you really need it? Or I'm
Yeah.
going to, the big one is, I'm going to buy like advertising in this thing. And BJ, you and I are like, no, don't do
No,
that.
no, you have no work there. Oh, but I want to start work there. Okay, you need to stay where your knitting is. Let's
Yeah.
bring you back. So think about, yes, accepting people where they are, but you know what? They don't have to work at your company. They don't have to work at your company.
Yeah.
They can go and be their own little silo somewhere else. So a little of that I struggled with too, Rich. That was one of the biggest things I struggled with. And if you're thinking about all these problems and how they can kick it up at work, how do you see them as a guiding force for, how you handle situations? I don't know if I could follow these things, right?
Yeah. You can't control others, but you can guide them by showing them the consequences of their actions. When clients are stuck in their old ways, that's a huge one. You've got to show them. I'm doing this constantly now with AI, where I ask every one of my clients, are you playing with ChatGPT? You need to right now. Because
Yeah,
if you're like, well, I don't have time for that, you need to make time for that. And by the way,
right.
everybody listening, go play with ChatGPT. Start
There you
learning
go.
it.
Get your Claude, go do
Yeah,
whatever you need to do, get it going. Oh my
start working
gosh.
with it.
Exactly. All
So
right, Rich,
what's
I'm going to
our
take you.
fourth and final action?
Our forth. By no means the final action, because I bet the book kept going. Prioritize your own well-being by setting boundaries and not taking responsibility for other people's actions. Okay, so essentially, you gain peace and power by letting go of the need to manipulate situations or people. So I saw that and I just said, oh, so you stop being a leader, you stop being the person, the go-to person for your vendors and your clients. You stop being that. I completely get boundaries. Absolutely. I completely get the fact that set a boundary. I completely agreed with her there. And it was weird to say, don't take responsibility for other people's actions. Because if they're under your umbrella, your company, you're taking responsibility for everything everybody does. I'm not saying micromanage. I'm not saying, be the mother hen or whatever. I'm just saying you need to be in the game. You've got to be in the game. Rich, do you think that, in a business sense, this is one of those airlines, cardinal rules? Put your mask on before you go and help others.
Oh yeah. I mean,
right?
You need to be well grounded. And again, there needs to be a certain amount of detachment when you're working with clients, when you're working with your employees, where you have to look at it from outside of the bubble, but you can't just detach. You need to then go back in and help them and guide them where they need guidance. And I think that's where I think BJ and I really detach from this book. We find that Mel Robbins' the let them theory is candidly ultimately disappointing because it oversimplifies complex human relationships and it promotes passive detachment over meaningful engagement, and it prioritizes self-preservation at the expense of deeper moral and philosophical growth. I wasn't impressed. I just wasn't impressed.
That's it. We try to be open.
Yeah.
We try to be open, Rich. I'm sorry to say. But circling back to Nelson Mandela's poem, Letting Go, I want you guys to all Google that. We'll put it in the show notes. The poem reflects on the importance of letting go of grudges, bitterness to find peace and happiness. So think about how different that is. Say you lose a client and the client, goes away. Don't sit there bad-mouthing them, hating them, all those kind of things. Just let it go. Surprisingly, some of them come back. So there's that letting go concept, but it has to do with different interpersonal skills that you need to always foster. So embrace humility in others, right, Rich?
Absolutely.
There's just so many things. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, in my opinion, I would bypass this book and go out and buy The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday.
Oh my gosh, I was going to ask you this. Oh my gosh, okay.
Ryan Holiday is the king. He's taken the Stoics from 2,000 years ago and has brought them alive. And The Obstacle is the Way it was published many years ago, not many, like maybe 10 years ago, but it is an incredible book, easy to read. And I would say buy this book, The Obstacle is the Way, more than the let them theory. I
put that in the show notes. Yeah, put that in the show notes, because that, to me, that is a more productive book.
Yeah,
for sure, and a book for the shelf for sure. Oh my gosh.
We'd love to hear your insights into the poem, into the book, into Mel Robbins' book. Drop us a comment or send us a message. And remember, if you found today's episode helpful, share it with a fellow business owner. So, folks, let's keep this podcast momentum going. Share this episode on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, and TikTok with the hashtag The Best Small Business Show. Spread the word and keep our community growing by subscribing to our show.
And folks, ready to take your business to the next level? Reach out to Rich G from richg.com, a top-tier business coaching that drives results. You're going to love them.
And folks, for all things brand marketing and website design, contact my podcast partner, BJ Flagg, at newrenew.com and make your marketing remarkable.
And we can't end this podcast without a big shout out to our editor, producer, Richard Scalzo, for making us sound so professional in every episode. Folks, have an unbelievable week. Crush those goals, read those books, and we're going to catch you on the next episode.